My friends, let me show you how I use Decibel to mix records every day. First thing I do is I insert Decibel on my mix bus. Actually, in Pro Tools, it's in my template. However, once it's set up on my mix bus, I close it, and then I look at my iPad, which is right here. That's amazing because it turns my iPad into a hardware meter, so I don't have to have a hardware meter. And then that's it. I don't have to shoot back to the right of my session and scroll, and click on the plugin to see I'm doing with levels because I have the iPad at all times. And that's bananas. If I want, I can have several iPads or iPhones or whatever showing different views. That's my default. But if you want a different default, you can build your own. And also, if you like VUs or phase scopes or big numbers or whatever, you can organize it however you want. In my template, I have on the upper left an LUFS meter in the shape of a traditional meter with bar graphs and stuff. And that allows me to see the short-term LUFS level of my program material at a glance. At the bottom left, I have my frequency response. Here, I have a histogram. This gives me the dynamic range and level history of my track as I play it. I'll show you in a second. Very practical when you're trying to manage balance between verses and choruses, or trying to figure out why one of your tracks is louder than the other, or why it reads louder than the other even though it feels the same. This is very good information to have. And then the supermeter was designed to show you at a glance both your short-term and long-term or integrated levels and dynamic range in 1 meter. On the outer track, in green and purple, that it's dancing a little bit, you see the numbers changing, that is your short-term level with the 3-second window as per the specification of the LUFS standard. And so I know right now that my current short-term level is minus 15 and change. And in pink or purple, depending if you're colorblind or not, you can see the dynamic range. We call it TrueDyn because it's measured and calculated in the same realm as the LUFS standard. So it's truly compared to true peak as opposed to a more electrical system, old school system. This is your true dynamic range in the spirit of true peak and LUFS. Inner track gives me the integrated level over the course of the whole song. So if your song has a final average level of say minus 12, Spotify, for example, would take it down 2 dB to get their minus 14 spec, right? The other thing you can see on the bottom right here, the little blue line with a number, that is your true peak max. So you can really see if you're going to go over your true peak max or not. That's another factor that's important when you're going to deliver to your DSPs. And to wrap up the discussion about supermeter, there are 3 numbers in the middle there. Those are your average numbers, integrated numbers. So you can read right away, the sum total of the entire song once you've played it. On the left, your level, minus 16.6 for this. On the right, your dynamic range integrated over the course of the song, 10.8. And then under that, the true peak level, which is in this case minus 5.6. The histogram at the bottom is my level over the course of the song, and then that's my dynamic range over the course of the song. You can tell from this that this song was limited. So when we got to the louder parts, the peak stayed the same, but the average went up. This is useful information when you're trying to understand what's going on with another song or trying to understand why your song is not hitting. You can see, if you are not in a position to tell by yourself, you can see right here what's going on, and that's really valuable. This preset I use when I want to be analytical. This preset I use when I want to be in the flow. You'll notice that the target level, my median level, has changed from minus 14 to minus 10. That's because my calibration is saved with my preset, and pop records allowed. Now, I can change my calibration anytime on the fly. I have a little calibration window right here. Right now it's on from preset, and it says, my 0 VU calibration is at minus 10, and my LUFSI is at minus 10, my true peak max is at 1, and all that stuff. But if I want, I can say, okay, I want to work for Spotify. And now I have minus 14, and all the other numbers adjust to the Spotify levels. The other thing you can adjust on the fly is your skin. So you could say, okay, this is from preset, but you could use any of many skins. That, for example, Vice Night. So I play some music so you can see what's going on. And you can change the look of Decibel to your liking, however you like, in real time, of course. And you can save that with your presets or whatever. That's it. That's what I'm going to look at all day, and that's what's going to happen on the iPad. The other way I use Decibel is to analyze the dynamic range of other songs. Say, for example, I hear a song on Tidal or YouTube or Spotify, and I'm like, whoa, it hits really hard. It sounds interesting, or maybe it's bright, or maybe it's really fat, but it still sounds present. Why is that? Sometimes you can just tell, and sometimes it's nice to have a little bit help from your friends, like Decibel. An easy way to do that is to use the standalone version of Decibel. Let me show you. So I'm going to hide Pro Tools, and I'm going to launch the standalone version. It looks exactly the same as the plugin, except it doesn't need a DAW to run. You have a little, what we call a daemon up here, right here, and you can see Decibel monitoring. That means that I can send the output of my core audio in my computer to Decibel, so Decibel can read the level. So if I launch Tidal, for example, and I play anything, and it's playing right now, you won't hear it because I don't want any copyright issues. It's showing up in Decibel. So now you can read and analyze the output of whatever else is playing audio on your machine that you want to analyze the output of. And so now I can tell, okay, this is the dynamic range right here. This is how loud it is, pretty loud. And this is pretty compressed. That's what it is, right? You can see that because it's like 7 dBs of dynamic range. That's compressed. So you get the exact same functionality on the desktop in this standalone app as you do inside the plugin. And it's for you to decide how you want to work. Use Decibel monitoring or not, or you work in the DAW, or both. You could do both. You could say, okay, I'm going to have the plugin in, say, if you use an HDX rig in Pro Tools, you can put the plugin on there, or Luna. And then you use the standalone to monitor Spotify or to monitor YouTube. And you always know what's going on at all times with the levels, the dynamic range, and the spectral range of your music. Here's one more cool thing about Decibel. Sometimes, just sometimes, you don't have the patience to wait for the whole song to play again, just so you can analyze it. And so there's an offline mode. Start an offline analysis. Look at the speed this thing goes at. It's doing a very, very fast analysis of this song. It's complete. You can see here in the panel on the left, the average LUFSI was minus 12.4. Everything is there. The integrated, the momentary max, all my ranges, the max, the mins, all that stuff is all in one exportable report that I can send to my client or my collaborators or whatever. So that is the summary of how I use Decibel. But the key to Decibel is that you could do whatever you want with it because it is completely modular. You can choose the colors, you could choose your calibration. It's completely customizable by you, for you, and it works with your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, with everything, Mac and Windows. Pretty cool.